with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts current open meeting law, we are conducting this meeting online. The public may access the meeting through telephone and video conferencing. Members of the public will have an opportunity to provide comments at the end of the meeting. This meeting is being recorded. And welcome everybody. We are joined today for the first time by Commissioner Trey Andre Valentine, and I would like to officially welcome him to the group. It's the group is almost full. There's only one missing commissioner. Commissioner Lee. So let's move with the meeting agenda. I need a motion to approve the meeting minutes.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Thank you. Are there any amends to the minutes? I only have one typo. We have a typo on section F where it says 5 votes. It should say 3 votes. And that's all I have.
Thank you for that.
Anything else, Robert? No? Okay, so everybody in favor then of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? Any abstention? Minutes are unanimously approved. And we start with the executive director's report.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Susie Helmy. I'm the interim executive director for the Boston Human Rights Commission. Thank you all for being here. I will get started with my report. As usual, I have a habit of rambling, so please cut me off with any questions if I do not stop talking. I will start by saying I have, again, on the topic of training, because I believe we need to educate ourselves first before we go out and promote our work. So I have completed the training offered by the Massachusetts Commission Against Discrimination in regards to addressing and preventing sexual harassment. I have also sponsored a training that I have offered to the Equity and Inclusion Cabinet that we sit in regards to mediation. This is an 8-part mediation course, and this officially kicked off last week and will go until early November. So I'm very excited about that and have had, I think, 15 total individuals from the cabinet sign up for it. So lots of training, and I'm looking into other further learning opportunities. So if you all have any suggestions on training you think I or staff or future staff should take, please send them over to me. Moving on from trainings, just some administrative stuff. I have put all the commissioner profiles on our website. I do have one tweak to do because I was trying to do it too fast, but all the commissioner profiles are online. For our new commissioners, welcome. I'm still very excited to have you all here. Additionally, I am working with the Director of Communications for the cabinet on getting our interns a profile on our website, because they are interns they have been for a while, and they will be for the full academic year. So I'll be getting their profiles up on our website. Also offering them the opportunity to get professional headshots done here at the City Hall. I am also looking to put up a resource guide up on our website. So right now, when we have intakes coming in, into our office, we work off a resource guide that me and Amber kind of put together. So if the intake relates to hospitals or they want to file a claim against an attorney or it's housing, we have them separated so we know like what resources we have. I am working with the Director of Communications to make this, how do I say it, like like visually appealing kind of resource guide that we can put up on the website. So that's something I'm working on to put up just to help every individual that we can, regardless if they want to fill out an intake form with us. Obviously, I welcome them to, but if they don't, there's a resource guide so they know that what their options are. Have that. So I think I mentioned this in the past. So the Equity and Inclusion Cabinet has been hosting a resource and job fair for the past 3-4 months. It's been once a month in different neighborhoods, such as Dorchester, Hyde Park, Mattapan. The last one completed 2 weeks ago, and we attended all of them, promoting our resources and job opportunities that we had. So they're going to end for this year and pick them up next year, again, having a series of them in different centers. And again, we will be part of this. It was really nice to just be in like a BCUF center and have residents come to you. You know, kind of meet individuals where they are and share resources and job fairs. Moving on from that. In regards to staffing, I am very pleased to say that I have been through 72 resumes, 3 rounds of interviews that I could do, but I finally made an offer for education outreach manager, and she has accepted the position. So we will have a new staff member on November 14th. I am going to have her join the next meeting just so she can introduce herself to you all. I will tell you she is a current employee of City Hall. She is the Mid-Dorchester and Cape Verdean liaison. Her name is Denise Dos Santos, and I am very, very excited to have her join the team. And I let her know that she's going to be working the first day she starts here because I need help and I am ready to really push our work forward. So she will be starting November 14th, and I'm very excited about that. Next on my list, I have I believe the last meeting I talked, I am part of a coalition from the Office of Police Accountability and Transparency, where they put out a request for proposal looking for a consultant that was going to create an equity assessment tools to look into the retention, hiring, and promotion of BIPOC employees in the Boston Police Department. And this means sworn officers and civilian personnel. We have received submissions for the request for proposal, and I will be meeting with the team next week to meet with the consultants and continue our work on, okay, are we gonna pick one of these consultants? What's next? Benchmarks. So that's moving along. I put my notes backwards. What I wanted to start my report with was I did want to acknowledge that today is Spirit Day, and I have my purple here, but I'm really hot right now, so I took my sweater off. But Purple Spirit Day aims to create awareness for bullying and harassment that the LGBTQ+ community faces, specifically youth. So I do want to acknowledge that, in addition to today being Domestic Violence Awareness Day. Now that I said that, I can go to the rest of my notes. In regards to the anti-hate campaign, I am still trying to develop it as much as I can. The new updates that I have that I can share with you is I am really making the focus of this campaign a know your rights campaign. So it's really going to be towards education, outreach, and the promotion of resources. So, and I'm staring over there because I have my whiteboard, but the overall mission of this campaign is going to be committed to fostering awareness and education around hate crimes and incidents and the importance of reporting them, as well as the promotion of positive messaging that encourages inclusion and respect for all. I am defining the areas where we're going to do this education and outreach, such as faith centers, senior centers, high schools, and I'm looking into what other areas we should be getting into. When the education outreach individual, when Denise comes on, I said her name, when Denise comes on, we will be, for example, looking into senior centers. Okay, we're going to reach out to the Age Strong Commission here. Where are the most effective senior centers that we can get in terms of like accessibility that is available to all? And then how do we do outreach for that community? Because outreach for each community is going to look different. Now, the senior centers might need a physical training session and not a Zoom webinar training. I am also very happy to say that I have been working with U.S. Attorney Rachel Rollins' office, and we will be collaborating on the education part of it. So when we go out to, for example, do the senior center, we will be working with her and her office on the education piece of hate crimes, but also incorporating topics that tailor to that audience. So for example, when we go into the senior centers, it's doing what I shared about teaching what a hate crime is, what a hate incident is, how that differs from discrimination, but additionally, talking about frauds against seniors, how scams and how fraudsters attack seniors and how they're very vulnerable to those. So we'll be working on the education piece of that together with her office. And then that's obviously going to be different when we get into the faith centers. That education outreach on that is going to look different. But I'm very pleased to announce that we will be working together and partnering on the education part of it together. I'm going to stop there if you have any questions. So I feel like I've been talking forever. Does anybody have questions or comments or suggestions? If not, it's okay.
One quick one.
Yeah.
You might have said this already, but what is the time frame for the anti-hate campaign?
To be totally transparent, I don't have a time frame. This is something I'm trying to figure out because I want to be very realistic about it. Because if you ask me, I'd say like this month, next week, because that's my like goal. But I have a briefing put together for myself. I want to finalize it next week. And then when Denise starts, it's like, okay, senior centers, let's start reaching out to Age Strong to start meeting with them on what senior centers, where, and how often will we need, like, is it going to be like more than one? Working on that, but I don't have a specific like time frame, and this is something I'm like trying to work better on, but I don't have one. But as soon as possible, if that's an answer.
Yeah, no, that's super helpful. Thank you.
Are we going to roll out, Susie, a public announcement
Yes.
before you start? Something
Yes.
that sort of lays out how it's going to roll out to people?
Yes, absolutely. And I'm going to work with the director of communications. Like I said, Ayana for the cabinet. She's amazing at what she does with just press release and making sure it's literally a kickoff so everyone knows about it, everyone's invited to it. So that is something that we're going to work. And then I think that will also, working with her, is going to help me further develop a timeline so I can actually tell you what the timeline is.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes.
Let me unmute first. No, well, I mean, congratulations first on the hiring.
Thank you.
Looking forward to working with more folks, having more capacity to do work. One question I had or suggestion or thought was in regards to the presentations that you were just talking about with the U.S. District Attorney's Office and around. Wondering, and I think this is also a broader idea, not just for this, but wondering if, you know, with this commission, as we're doing work moving forward, we could also think about non-police interventions to some of this, you know, this work as well. And I know there's conversations happening at City Hall around this as well. And so kind of just expanding the conversation to think about that, because there's also that to think about when community members want to report some type of harm that they're facing.
Absolutely.
You know, that might intersect with other fears of feeling that they only have, you know, one or two agencies they can reach out to. And I think the commission obviously is one of those, and there's others as well. So just making sure that's part of, you know, the conversation and the presentations going on as well.
Absolutely. I completely agree.
Yes, on that vein, I completely agree with Commissioner Paredes. I was wondering, Susan, are you envisioning that at some of these events, some or one or more of the commissioners would be present, would go along, you and Denise?
I would
or some-
hope so. I'm not,
Okay.
I'm not gonna ask. I hope that you will all be there, not one of you. I hope that you will all be there.
Okay, so I think,
Um,
you know,
Yeah,
it
and
is,
it's going to be, yeah, the training is obviously for those that signed up for it to actually learn, but the bigger the better. Like as many individuals there, and you all have your own expertise and resources, and that's the other part of it, not just education and outreach, but what resources are out there. And I think that's really important to uplift and really promote. So yeah, I didn't ask that because I'm not going to ask that.
Please
I'm going
ask
to-
us.
No, I'm going to tell you when they are.
I had a feeling she wanted that, but hadn't said it, so I figure I should say
I
it.
think it's important that we have a presence out in the
Oh, yeah.
communities.
Mhm. I completely agree.
Question, is there a calendar of these already?
No, this is,
Okay.
no, I haven't, but that's what I'm looking to, literally when I come up with my timeline, it's going to have calendar events, agendas, what it's going to look like, a whole like briefing of how it's gonna go. And I will 100% share that with you all when it's developed, but that's my goal. If there are no other questions on that front, I do just have one more item on my report. This is still very, very new. It is in its infancy, but Mayor Wu's administration and the IT department here is looking into creating a IT ethics commission. And what this means is really really centered around focusing around the procurement and use of technology for city services and how it respects both human and digital rights of our residents, especially those of marginalized communities. I have shared our previous work with digital equity when it comes to the hearings that we hosted, the testimonies that we've gotten from constituents, along with the reports that our amazing interns put together. This was loved very much. And I am working with the IT department to put a charter together for this commission. Obviously HRC will be part of it and potentially chair it. So I'm very excited to share that. Again, it's still in its infancy, but it's beginning. And I'm meeting next week with IT to work on that together. And that is the conclusion of my report.
Thank you very much, Susan. And my report today has 2 points I'm going to read because you don't want me to ramble. 2 points. Our interns continue their research on hate in Boston. I continue meeting with them and helping with their research. They are advancing, gathering data, including our own data that is going to be the data that the commission produces is going to be analyzed. And we are also reaching out to other local human rights commissions to seek information about how they did if they did an anti-hate campaign, what were the steps they took, what were the obstacles, and what would be their recommendations for us. That report will be ready, or the preliminary report will be ready in December, and we'll do a presentation at that time. And then it will continue along for the next semester with potentially different goals coming from whatever it is that we find this semester. And then I would like to talk about 2 reports that have become available somehow recently, and they caught my attention. So I wish to take this opportunity to express and register some concerns. First, I'm going to talk about the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education's review of Boston Public Schools. I'm referring to a follow-up of a review issued in 2020. This follow-up I'm referring to was conducted between March and April of 2022. The report presents our districts as failing to meet acceptable minimum standards for essential district functions. I'm going to read that again. Our district is failing to meet acceptable minimum standards for essential district functions. The document describes a chaotic situation, a school system struggling to operate at a basic level, and a school system showing important inequities among schools. DESE and BPS have agreed to a new model for improvement, and they have signed a 3-year memorandum of understanding, seeking results in 4 particular areas. The memorandum will end a year from now, October 2023. As I understand it, the document is very dense and difficult to understand at times. DESE is requesting that BPS reaches concrete improvements in the district's 33 lowest performing schools. That BPS offer equitable access to student supports and reduce chronic absenteeism. That BPS increases the percentage of students with disabilities who are served in the least restrictive environment and reduces the disproportionately placement of students of color in substantially separate programs. Finally, it requests that BPS improves the student transportation system. There is also a lot to say about the ESL teaching in the system. As an educator and as a member of this commission, I want to express my concern regarding this situation that might interfere with the human right to education. Second, I'm going to talk about a report that was released last week. Is the CTC Technology and Energy Consulting report presented to the city by this private company selected last year, CTC. It is called the Digital Equity Assessment Report. As you know, some of you know, last year, this commission devoted many hours of work and research and a special hearing to study and to discuss the issue of digital equity in Boston. According to the report, we were doing a very good job. According to the report, wire broadband is available everywhere in Boston. City programs that address gaps due to lack of affordability, devices, or skills are working, but gaps remain. Also, building a city-owned network would cost about $800 to $900 million. And internet providers affirmed that they offer identical services, quality, and pricing everywhere they serve in Boston. Those are the major takes. Significant progress has been made, and yet this report states, as our own commission pointed out last year, that there are digital inequities in Boston and significant gaps remain. The report attributes those gaps to affordability, lack of devices, and/or lack of digital skills. Almost 30,000 Boston households have used subsidized broadband so far. Yet, Boston households don't seem to be adopting the new programs as much as those in other cities. We don't understand why. Quite tellingly, Comcast, one of the providers, declined to share the number of subscribers with active enrollments in Internet Essentials, their subsidized program, making it difficult to assess the current impact of their program. But there is evidence that residents continue to report problems signing up for that low-cost program. As many as 35,000 households do not have internet subscription in Boston. 35,000. The populations with the lowest levels of internet subscriptions and computer ownership tend to be concentrated in the lower income neighborhoods. The Office of Immigrant Advancement has found that key barriers exist in accessibility, affordability, and skills, limiting immigrants' digital access and therefore their employment opportunities. Also, digital equity gaps remain among older adults in Boston. The report recommends that the city accelerates enrollment efforts in the Affordable Connectivity Program. And that concludes my report. I will be happy to send commissioners copies of these documents if they are interested in. If there are not any questions for me about these reports, then we will move into the next item. Any questions?
Madam Chairperson, could we once again have a hearing and call Comcast to testify and compel them to release their numbers?
We could try to compel them. We tried, I believe, a year and a half ago, and they did not. They refused. And the report, this report created by this company, took the statements by the internet providers as at face value. They said everything is done the same way, the prices are the same, and the quality is the same, and the services are the same. So the assessment did not uncover irregularities in that.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't we uncover that people were paying for speeds that they were not actually receiving?
Yes, we did find out that our report claimed that this report would attribute that to lack of skills, inappropriate uses of devices such as inappropriate modems, for instance, or the distance of a device to the modem, for instance. So yeah, this report has found no problem whatsoever with internet providers.
Amazing.
One thing I forgot to say is that apparently Boston Public Schools is doing very well. Their job are doing very, very well. So City Hall is doing a lot and it's working out, but there are 35,000 households without internet and many others that have inadequate internet. But we are we're going to the direction of blaming lack of access, affordability, lack of device, lack of knowledge. So it is concerning. I'm very happy that Susan brought up the
IT Ethics Commission.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, because that would mean that the city will continue watching what is going on in the city. I intend, if we have time, to go over this report with Talia Viveros, who is the intern, who is the expert on this. So, but she's working in these other projects. So at some point, maybe for the next semester, or maybe during the vacation, she might be able to go deep into the study, the assessment, and see something else. There are interesting maps. They of course gather a lot of data. But the result is what we said. There are gaps. There are gaps, and those gaps are concentrated in areas of the city where minorities and people of lower income live. So okay, let's then go to
One quick
Oh,
point.
yes.
I was holding off on saying this because I don't know off the top of my head, but for some reason I feel like I remember hearing at some point the city exploring having more, I guess what would be considered like hot spots or things like that across the city. And so wondering if anyone else has heard anything about that, and also if so, you know, where that sort of stands in conversation with all of this. But I don't have much information. That's why
I think the city, I can pass you this report because some of this information is there. The city is doing very well at work. You know, the Office of Immigrant Advancement and the H Strong are working together, and they're working with the cabinet, the equity cabinet, inclusion and equity cabinet. And so I think that now that the report has been released, City Hall is probably going to have to sit down and see what's going to happen moving forward. And it would be, I think, appropriate for City Hall to look again into this report and the Commission's report. Of course, our report was done with very few means, basically brains. But I was not surprised to see that we were pointing in the right direction. The gaps exist, and they are noticeable, and they are worrisome, and they affect all kinds from medical devices that people have at home, to the ability to do homework, to the ability to apply for a job, to the capacity to, you know, access all kinds of services, including health, bank, you know, kinds of things. So right now, digital inequity in a city is a very dangerous situation. If we leave our neighbors behind, the digital divide will be unsurmountable. Any other comment or? Okay, so let's move to our main point of the day, which is the continued discussion of 22-23 objectives. Before that, if you don't mind, I would like Commissioner Valentine to introduce himself and maybe get to know a little bit our colleagues. Go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Trey Andre Valentine. My pronouns are he and they. I'm the executive director of the Massachusetts Transgender Political Coalition in my 9 to 5. I'm originally from Trinidad and Tobago. Moved to this country for when I started college. I actually just recently got my green card, so I'm very excited about that. It's like a 20-year process for me. I have done a lot of work in the anti-violence movement, specifically within LGBTQ communities. What else can I say? I used to be a musician, but you know that I've hung up that hat. And I'm very excited to be here with you all. I'm very excited for this opportunity. I feel very deeply honored to be here.
Thank you, and thank you for accepting our invitation to be a commissioner, because your experience and everything is invaluable. So we thank you for accepting the invitation. I don't know if you want to start the conversation, as it's 5:40.
Yes, the conversation should start because we have very little time left. This conversation should continue. And
Absolutely.
last month, there were a few points that were brought up. Collaborating with City Hall anti-hate campaign, locating and addressing structural and systemic racism, using intersectional approaches to issues such as immigration and structural racism, police reform, and a Know Your Rights training for residents. So those were some of the suggestions that we were talking about. Any of you have any more thoughts about what concrete goals we could advance in the next year, or what concrete goal? Don't be shy.
Yeah,
Mario.
Yeah, I have some thoughts in regards to some of what I started talking about last time, thinking around, immigrants and kind of like an intersectional approach to that. Is obviously there's been all over the news around, recent arrivals, coming to cities across the country, including Boston, and us trying to be a space that's welcoming and supporting them. And so I think there's a lot of different directions that can take in how to support them, especially as, under our mandate with the commission. The one thing I had found interesting that I saw as an example in one of the reports that I believe some of the interns had worked on what other commissions across the country are doing. One of those, which, I haven't had the opportunity to fully investigate at this point, but it definitely piqued my curiosity, was there are examples like New York, where the Human Rights Commission does certifications for U visas for individuals. And so, I know from just having interactions with attorneys that work on U visa related issues that sometimes there's some complications that come up with getting that certified by different, police departments across the state. And so, I'd be curious to learn a little bit more of how that's going in New York. And if there's an opportunity to do any of that in this space, considering the fact that there are issues that sometimes attorneys run into when they're trying to approach different police departments or different, agencies to certify, to provide a certification so that someone could receive their U visa. And so, and just, being very broad about it, in order to get like a certification on U visa, there has to be some sort of investigation going on, and the person who's seeking that U visa needs to be providing some support into that investigation as well. And so usually I think most people think of police departments as the place where people are doing that in the first place, where they go to try to get certification. But I found it super interesting that different commissions like New York took it upon themselves to try to see if they could provide some support in that arena as well. And so I'd be curious to explore that a little bit more, and just more broadly, see other ways in which we can support recent arrivals and immigrants more broadly, who are facing, a number of issues when it comes to, receiving support, housing and other issues as well. And so definitely open to putting more thought into that and doing some more, research and speaking with whoever may be necessary. But that's one idea that came to mind in terms of supporting, immigrants across a broader spectrum.
I like it very much, and I like that it's concrete. So it's something that you can, that you have already the expertise to study and to then discuss with us and possibly might lead to a recommendation for policy, something that this commission should be doing.
Mhm.
So it's totally under our responsibility to find spaces where we can step in, or the city could step in a different way, and then to provide advice to policy makers and to provide policy. So I would be interested in what you find. If you could give us a report next month, it would be wonderful on this very, very particular issue. If it, we are going to have to vote that right now, but I think it's a very concrete and very doable exploration.
I will also offer if items like this come up and you want to explore it a little bit more, the Office of Immigrant Advancement here has done some work and some strategizing around migrant arrivals. So for example, if this is something that you want to continue the conversation, I can reach out to the executive director and potentially have her join us at the next meeting and just kind of talk about what work she's getting into. Okay, I know you have to leave, Commissioner. I'm so sorry. Have a good fundraiser. I can have her join the next commission meeting if you're interested, just to see like what work she has been getting into and how we can potentially work together in a partnership. So just offering that if you want to continue the conversation and explore it further. And this is for any topic that comes up. If there's another topic that comes up that I can reach out to another.
Anybody
Yeah.
else? Annie, is anything that has come on housing on your no, you were more into I think that you brought up the issue of immigration.
I did, and so that this falls nicely into that.
And the anti-hate campaign.
Right.
Okay. So you still feel those two issues. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Elijah? Oh, sorry.
And I think the anti-hate campaign is going to be huge, and that Susie, you have to let us know when you need us, and so that we can show up and help. And if there are trainings that you find that you think would be beneficial for us to attend so that we're better prepared at meetings, happy to do that.
Elijah?
Yeah, I don't think I have anything to add to what I mentioned last week. I think Susie mentioned there's a know your rights component of the anti-hate campaign, which I'm really interested in, and just thinking about how we can leverage that as a way to educate folks, make folks feel better about reporting issues that come up, and yeah, just feel more equipped, more empowered. I think the thread around police reform, I mean, it depends on if the commission kind of takes that on as a priority, but I definitely know that there are issues that come up all the time. I mean, that was at the core of, why racial equity has become such a focus all across the country. And we still have a lot of work to do to improve that. I saw, examples of what other commissions have done in terms of connecting to civilian review boards. I don't know too much about what the infrastructure like is here in Boston, but I would love to dig into that issue if there's the capacity to or interest by the commission.
Yes, Elijah, we conducted last year a study internally, the commission did, on Boston Police Department. That study is on our website. And so if you could take a look at that, and then probably we could discuss how that report connects to Susie's representation of the commission in that committee that is going to be hiring uh,
A consultant, I
a
think.
consultant that wants to prepare an instrument to assess exactly what our report says. So I think we could keep it. If you can keep an eye then on this report and establish that connection with Susan on what is going on, it would be great if we could then also get reports every month from you on how things are. What do you think things are going? And they might be not much at the very beginning, since the consultant has not been identified yet. So it might be something that might happen more in 2023.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds good to me. Thank you.
Can I just
Trey?
quickly piggyback on that? Just
Uh-huh.
one brief point is another thing that just happened recently that might connect to just policing or criminalization of communities is an ordinance just went into effect around surveillance technologies that different agencies, including the Boston Police Department, uses, and they just released their first, as part of that ordinance, one of the things that was required was releasing a public report of what are the different technologies that are being used. And so that just went live recently, and folks can take a look at that. We can take a look at it and see if there's any opportunities, in the coming year to do some like further work in that space and seeing how it's affecting different communities as well. So don't have much more information than that, but
Okay.
there is some information, publicly around it. So yeah.
Yes, thank you very much for bringing that up. I believe that is the committee that's going to be done by the committee that might be chaired by Susie on ethical digital matters by the city. And so I think we definitely should be taking that up too. And if she becomes the chair of that committee, more so, excellent. Trey Andre, I know it's this is your first hour in the commission, but
is.
is there any if you wish to bring up anything to the forefront that you think that we should be paying attention closely? This year?
Well, this may have already been mentioned, but I'm thinking about, and I'm thinking also too, this makes sense with the hate campaign, but and reform with police reform. But I've just been hearing in communities about reporting in terms of hate crimes, right? And that very much so that the police have been not encouraging people to report things as hate crimes, which is very interesting because I'm part of the LGBTQ public safety meetings, and in those meetings they go over numbers and talk about how they are encouraging people to report things as hate crimes. So there's very conflicting things happening.
Very interesting. Very interesting. And just so that you know, I would like you to get in contact, maybe attend one of my meetings with one of the interns that is working on what hate crimes are, how are they defined by Boston Police Department, and how are they dealt with whenever they are not defined as crime, but as incidents. So I think I'm going to invite you, if you don't mind, to the next meeting with the intern to pass that good information that you have, and we are on it. It's almost time, but I would think that if you agree that we should put all of these in writing, which Susie and I can do, as a motion to be approved at the next meeting. So it would be circulated before so that you are comfortable with the wording, etc. And but I think every single thing that you have brought up is absolutely correct and doable and concrete. And that the commission is perfectly able to handle these. It will take some of work, but that's why we're here. I don't know if Susie is with us or she is disconnected. But what do you think? Should we do that? So with the help of Susie, we'll go over this recording, and we will then grab every single thing that has been said and put it in the form of a motion to be approved for the goals for the November meeting, which is in mid-November, I believe. Yes. Yep. Okay, that sounds very, very good. The next is public comments. We are very late, but and Susie doesn't seem to be right now with us. And I don't have the ability, unfortunately, to let attendees ask questions.
I'm here,
So-
I'm here.
Oh,
I'm
here we
sorry.
go.
I was having first trouble with my camera and then unmuting myself. I
Okay.
can't fix out the camera for some reason, but I'm here.
Did
I'm
you
here.
hear? Did you hear what
Yes,
happened?
I heard
Okay.
everything. I did
Okay.
hear everything.
Okay.
I will only suggest, maybe after we compile the list, seeing how many priorities we have, because I want to make sure that we're very intentional of actually
Mhm,
successfully executing all of our goals and objectives.
mhm.
But I am happy to work with you, Chairwoman, to just kind of put it all together
Mhm.
and then either continuing the conversation or making, going for a vote next meeting.
Sounds great. I think that that we should vote next meeting if unless there are some extreme meteorological phenomena that happens. Susie, would you like to move to public comments, please?
Yes, I don't have the script if you want to read the script, but I'll be here if,
It's just we are asking at this point, we're asking the public to ask any questions that they might have for the commission. You may raise your hand on the chat, and you will be then in direct communication with us. I don't see any hand up.
I don't either, and I also have not received any emails prior for
Okay.
public comments.
Okay, so we move into the next and last item, and is a simple discussion of in-person committee meetings. So as we are apparently moving on into a quasi-normal state of affairs, we have to start thinking. We have never, the commission has never met in person because the commission started during the COVID pandemic. There are some intricacies involved, but of course we have to remember that before COVID, there were no Zoom meetings. So we can go back to however it was that other commissions met in person once a month. That would require a new schedule because meeting at 5 will not longer be viable for most of us who work and finish at 5. Also, we need, as Susie said before, we need to consult with the attorneys regarding what constitutes an open meeting. Do we have to simply be in an office and announce where the meeting is gonna take place? Or do we still have to record the meetings and have online access? We don't know that yet, so Susie's gonna find out, but I would like to hear from you what you think about meeting in person.
I would love to meet in person. You know, it's been a long time. We're a new body, lots of new people. It would be great just to get to know each other. And I think that we accomplish more when we're meeting together.
Anybody else?
I agree. I'm definitely down to meet in person, and definitely as someone who's new to the commission, just to, connect with you all.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think I'm, open to either way. I think in a lot of spaces right now, say in our professional space are exploring what that looks like, whether it's hybrid, whether it's fully in person, and so I'm just curious to see what potentially other commissions are doing at this point. And like you said, after they speak with like the legal team, but considering if all of that seems like it's going smoothly and we have maybe other commissions who have been meeting in person successfully, then I think we could at least explore that and have that conversation. So I'm open to either way.
Elijah?
Yeah, ditto what Mario said. I'm pretty open. I think there are pros and cons in either situation. I'd be definitely open maybe to a hybrid approach, but I think since we've never met in person, and yeah, it seems like an opportunity to try something different, try something new.
Yeah, I too am inclined to either a hybrid method or system or an in-person system. I think that for us, the trip to City Hall and going into City Hall and going upstairs and sitting in a room, seeing the faces of public will change potentially how we interact with certain topics. And I am, I think, interested in being more accessible to people, being able to talk before or after the meeting with some of the attendees, etc. So
Can I ask a question actually with that? And this is a little bit maybe out of the norm, but do we know if any of the commissions have ever done in-person meetings prior to the pandemic, maybe not in City Hall? Like, have they ever been hosted in different communities, in different spaces? Is that, a possibility at all?
I'll pass that to Susie.
Oh, I was gonna say, I have no idea. But I am going to say that I'm going to suggest that after I meet with the attorney, which will hopefully happen next week, I'm still trying to coordinate that meeting, but after I get like all the regulations that we need to meet when I can share that information with you all, and then we can have a discussion about what a hybrid schedule looks like, where it could be, and do we potentially need to change the times? But I'm happy to send that over when I get it, and then maybe at the next meeting have a conversation about what that schedule will look like.
Sounds great. Sounds great. Well, we have done it again. We've gone over the time, but only by 2 minutes this time. And now I'm gonna have a cat jumping on my lap. Sorry about that. I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Any second?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
All right.
Anybody
Aye.
oppose? Anybody abstain? No. Meeting is adjourned at 6:03. Thank you so very much, all of you, and the public for staying with us. I look forward to continue this conversation next month. And Susie and I will be in touch, sending whatever we promised we were going to send, the language for the motion that we discussed,
Absolutely.
etc.
Thank you all very much and have a good evening.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Good night.